rather make plays on side lanes, and Peke doesn't need much assistance. You don't need to help him as much. You don't need to gank for him. Maybe just assist him on push-outs or whatever it is, which is surprising to me for mid laner. So I can work with it, but it's surprising to me.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, we'll go a little bit deeper into what Amazing said there later. But before we get into that match, though, we want to hear from what you guys are saying over on Twitter, because earlier we asked, who is the most underrated team in Europe so far this summer and why? And here's what you think. Our first tweet is from @lolgamu. H2K, they're on a hot streak, but always seem to be on the lower end of the fan vote. Their performance deserves more looks. I actually drew the comparison to, I think it was Cloud9 in the beginning, or the first couple of times when they won the split, and they didn't seem to be able to swing that fan vote. H2K is a little similar to me. They are riding high, but kind of unnoticed.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because there's a couple of teams that previously, you look at the last split, sometimes SK weren't too high in the fan vote either, that are doing very well, but just the fans don't seem to be behind yet. But honestly, I think when it comes to being underrated, a lot of people still see H2K as a very dangerous threat. But I can definitely kind of see some of the sentiment there.
Yeah, it's when you're not that flashy team, maybe people tend to underrate you, but they get the results up there. Our second tweet is from @Nazarium. I think Gambit is the most underrated team. They have so much individual potential. They just need to play like a team to improve. I feel like we've seen some of that today.
I completely agree, and I actually said that right at the top of the show. I feel like Gambit as individuals are very, very good and talented. Diamond is a prime example of that, bouncing back from his poor performances earlier. They just need to figure out some synergy. They just need to figure out how to make a few less mistakes and work together as a cohesive team.
Yeah, today pushing Fnatic to their longest game yet, so absolutely improving a bit there. Our third tweet is from @HurtCrow. I think Roccat is the most underrated team right now because most of their losses have been really close games. Yeah, but we have been saying that for a while, and it was case in point in that last game.
I think so too. And you know, the reason I consider them an underrated team in contrast to Spring, when they were an overrated team. In Spring, people were expecting them to perform very well, and they didn't. Now, nobody's expecting to perform as well because the field is stronger. You expected Gambit, you expected Fnatic, you expected Origin. Nobody really expected Rocket in that regard, but I think they're putting up some solid performances, and today was a good example of early and mid being good, but failing to close it out.
I would agree with what Crickshot's talking about the improvements they made. But I think the one thing to highlight for me is that underrated Giants still. Nobody's even tweeting about it right now either. So,
they are. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, for my personal kind of the growth we've seen from them is really, really a good improvement for the Giants.
Indeed, staggering from the Giants as well. Remember, you guys can always share your insight by tweeting @LOL Esports using that hashtag LCS. Send us those Giants tweets. We know you have them. And now to our final match of the week between the undefeated Origen and the Copenhagen Wolves. Tough matchup for the Copenhagen Wolves, but we're going to start by taking a look at the lineup for OG on the blue side with Soaz, Amazing, Xpeke, Niels, Mithy, and their coach, Leduc. Well, yesterday they were up against SK Gaming, and honestly, they just looked like a well-oiled machine.
They really did. They were a relentless, unending, well-oiled killing machine because it was the bloodiest game of the split. Honestly, it became painful to watch at some points, but what an impressive performance from Origin. We expected them to be the stronger team. They had a great pick and ban. The Vladimir last pick from Peke really worked out well. So as third game on Rumble, third victory in a row. Just everything about this team is working very well, and they are putting on a strong showing to show they belong or they want to aim for playoffs.
Yeah, a lot of individual good performances at the core of that. Urgot for Niels yesterday time around, and again, he can shine.
Very, very impressive performance out from Niels in yesterday's games. And I think perhaps the most impressive stat is he actually had a KDA of 32. That's the highest KDA in LCS regular split history. So that is an impressive set of stats for a very young AD carry when it comes to a professional scene.
Yeah, definitely is. When we talk about individual performances, I feel like obviously we talk about Niels a lot and those damage dealers, Xpeke and Soaz in there, but amazing. Yesterday with the swag Sejuani kill with the ultimate, only dealing 16% of his team's damage, but second highest kill anticipation, that is a difficult word at the end of the day, 84%, and he keeps putting up those numbers, also kind of like a wild card if he decides to go for a high damage dealer.
Yeah, definitely the case. But what I really, really like from Amazing is that soundbite that we had right out of the advert break where he said Origin is the opposite of a mid-centric team because Soaz can carry, Niels can carry, Amazing has shown that he can carry, and Pekka does whatever he wants. He picked that Morgana into LeBlanc on game 1 of the split. He didn't really do a whole lot but survive against Pepinero, and then in one dragon fight past 30 minutes, he just pops Pepinero and they win the game.
Yep.
So you've got these super self-reliant players who are all incredibly strong, and they can play to any lane. The only other team that is in similar strength, you could consider potentially Fnatic, where they have super diverse playstyles or super diverse carry potential from every lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Very strong. And, well, that means that it'll be tough for the Copenhagen Wolves in this one. Let's take a look at their lineup. They are on the red side. Youngbuck, Airwax, Soren, Freeze, and Unlimited. Let's talk about their game yesterday versus Unicorns of Love, the Animal Kingdom showdown, where a lot came down to the picks and bans. Not that it was a particularly, maybe, poor... Actually, it was pick for the side of the Copenhagen Wolves, but just giving up the Casio, the Gragas, the Rise to the Unicorns of Love, that is tricky.
Yeah, I feel like they almost lost the game in picks and bans. I mean, you can always maybe turn it around in game, but they gave away so many strong matchups. And then they gave early kills to Rise, and that is really one of the biggest things in that game. They couldn't pressure out the Rise's weak early game, and Rise just ran rampant.
Yeah, they really did. And I also feel that not only were the picks and bans mistakes, but I also feel the individual decisions in game were poor as well. Like you said, the kills to Rise, there was a teleport in there from Youngbuck. Youngbuck was sticking around. There was a teleport from Chachi that came in that got the kills. And I just think when you look at how Copenhagen Wolves played yesterday, something drastic needs to change. They were barely making it into playoffs in Spring Split. They had great week 1 performances and then all of a sudden dropped the ball. So let's see if they can regain their focus against a very, very strong Origin.
Yeah, they have come out to beat teams a lot better than them in the past. We'll see if that works out for them in this one. The stage is set. We're going to hand things over to Pyra and Crepo over at the caster desk.
Thanks again, Shocks. We are getting ready to get into champ selection between Origin and the Copenhagen Wolves. We've been talking about what we might expect to see in the champ selection. Some really crazy KDA numbers were put up yesterday. But, you know, Freeze did a pretty good job on Urgot a week back as well, and it didn't quite get up to that KDA level. We'll see if maybe we expect that one. I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. But for the Wolves, tough task ahead. How do you think they'll go at it, Crepo?
It's a little bit interesting to see what approach they take. You know, are they going to come out of the gate swinging? Will they play it slow? It'll all depend on what composition they end up picking. But just I want to note on that 32.0 KDA that Niels hit there. It kind of felt like you never get that high of a KDA. It's almost too good, which means you've been sloppy. You could have probably ended the game a little early. You know, 32 involved in 32 kills with only 1 death usually means you could have closed quicker, but that was Origin yesterday. Yeah, we're having some fun.
It's a possible in for Copenhagen Wolves, knowing that that was a game that took 39 minutes, even though they were in the lead for pretty much all of it. So into picks and bans now, they're going pretty quickly. We've got a Cassiopeia Draven off the board, targeting the Wolves. Big picks, of course. No-brainer there. LeBlanc and Rumble taken away as well. Soaz had a monster performance on that Rumble yesterday. 8, 1, and 20, and that death was a fountain dive.
Yeah, so far I think Soaz has only played Rumble in the LCS, so a good target ban there from the Wolves, and we saw just quite how destructive Rumble can be last game. Reaction ban from Origin. They want to first pick something other than Alistar and don't want the Wolves to get their hands on Alistar. Rise was open, so that was that potential something. Reaction ban from the Wolves coming out, and then Kalista open for Niels.
Quick Kalista. We'll see what Niels makes of this. The last time he did play it, of course they won. They haven't lost a game yet, but 7-2-6, respectable score. We'll see what the Wolves answer with. I know you like to talk about the trifecta, or what was a trifecta of 80 carries.
Yeah, that basically means that there's Kalista on one side, Urgot and Sivir on the other. Kalista is incredibly good into the Sivir matchup, so unlikely we see that. Usually when you see Kalista and Maokai is open, she will get locked immediately to deny her survivability and lock her down in fights. Usually when you see a Maokai, you like yourself a Black Shield if the Wolves want to take that away immediately as well. I have a bit of a strategy on our hands.
Gives them a bit more of that front line. So, with the Wolves picking their support, picking their top lane, working their way towards that composition, what do Origin decide to favor next? A lot of junglers still available on the board. In fact, none were banned away, and that means we could see that Gragas falling into Amazing's hands, and the Thresh into Mythi's.
Yeah, Miffy picked Annie last week as well, but I think he'll resort to the Thresh. Thresh Kalista is such a fun lane to watch, so many quirky interactions, so much outplay potential. Lantern, Fate Skull, in and out, double ranged, plays well into Morgana if she misses the bind, which is incredibly hard to land with Kalista hopping left and right. Yes, you have the Black Shield to facilitate your Maokai all in, but you have to get through the laning phase against one of the most potent duo lanes in LCS right now.
Yeah.
Miffy and Niels.
Well, and the Kalista Thresh too. I feel like, you know, you take for granted that, oh, I can hit a Dark Binding, I can make it happen, but that Kalista's hopping around all the time, and you got to be able to lock it down. That's the reason you've got the Maokai there. But what else can the Wolves do to deal with this? And we haven't even seen Peke's pick yet. We haven't seen what Soaz is going to go with, and they were ones that really, really stacked on the damage yesterday. I feel like there's a whole lot of threats on this Origin team, and you can't just focus on one side.
Yeah, good early draft already from Origin, and I just love this dramatic champion select music, Para.
It adds
the tension is
quite
palpable.
a lot. And as the last moments tick away, you know, we see this lock in for the Wolves now. Airwalks is going on the Evelyn, and Freeze is on the Ashe.
The Ashe,
Right.
quite immobile pick. Risky.
Oh, wait. I'm gonna let that breathe for a little bit.
Just wanna the Vayne hover. There is a slight possibility of top lane Vayne, but I doubt it. I don't think Soaz is that crazy quite yet. Doesn't seem to be his style, so I'm just gonna ignore that. Ashe is able to keep her range against Kalista, can poke her out a little bit, but Fate's Call can be used offensively to throw Thresh in there, CC her, and punish her immobility, just like Forgiven got punished on the Ashe. In addition, Thresh can just flash aggressively and get pulled out by Fate's Call as well. But there is the addition of the Black Shield to keep her safe. The Maokai Eve again, yet again, we've seen that combo so many times together. Maokai holds the front, Evelyn flanks, or Evelyn holds the front, and Maokai flank. A lot of options there, but let's see, mid lane counter pick for Soren. Azir is still open.
Yeah.
And the preemptive counter pick by Peke. He says, I know you're going Azir.
He's liking the Vlad, and he's trying to bait it a little bit, yeah. 6-2-15 was a scoreline yesterday. Very respectable score.
Maybe we see Kog'Maw here.
We just might, but how does that synergize with this Wolves comp already?
I think it synergizes all right. We have the defensive Black Shield, the double tank to keep people at bay, and you have the arrow to engage if you land enough poke. It's not going to be Darius mid lane. It might, you know.
You know, we've seen some crazy stuff already, but
crazy things, but
you know, I don't know if we're ready to get that crazy right now. A lot of concentration on the faces of the Wolves here. Are they just going to be bold enough to pick the Azir into it? That requires a lot of trust in your mid laner. I feel like Soren's earned it, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it... See, I called it the preemptive counter pick earlier. I haven't seen the matchup play out enough to definitely call it a counter pick, but Vladimir did well into Azir. Lifesteals up that poke that comes out, dives under the Emperor's Divide with the Sanguine Pool, has the all-in potential to just pop REQ and do a whole heap of damage. Definitely a strong pick. And in addition to that, Hecarim will be wreaking havoc in the backline for the Wolves. Try and punish the immobile Ashe, and Azir is locked in here.
Yeah, so we've got a Copenhagen Wolves comp. They have a couple things going for them. They have got that very strong Azir. They've got a big front line of the Maokai, the Evelyn. If they can pull off a flank, they can squish Origin between them, but it'll be very, very difficult, and if they themselves get caught, there's not a lot of tankiness outside that Maokai. The Azir is going to have to make very frequent use of that barrier, and Airwax is really going to need to pull these flanks up. We've seen mixed success on Evelyn's here in Europe, and you know, you don't want to be on the losing side of that one. Origin, on the other hand, very strong composition, Crepo.
I like both teams' composition, and the last time I said that, that was a Fnatic Gambit game, and earlier this morning that turned out to be a fantastic game to watch, and I really hope for a repetition of the same match here. Just hope for a close game, nice game, and a lot of blood.
I think a lot of blood will definitely be the case, especially not just to Vladimir in the game, but Peke's Vladimir indeed. This is going to be something else. I can't wait. It's getting exciting. Last game of the week, too.
Last game of the week.
But, you know, that means we've got one more thing for you guys to do. You came, you saw, and now it's time to tweet at OL Esports, OG win or CW win. We'll tally those up in-game and see who you think is going to come out ahead. But for now, we're ready to wrap up this week #2 here in Europe in style with the OG boys taking on the Copenhagen Wolves.
And I asked for blood, and so as he heard my prayers, the offensive summoner Ignite on Blood Knight Hecarim.
It's making
gonna be a bloodbath. No defensive summoner. We've seen ponies get punished, put back into their stable without an offensive summoner, or without a defensive summoner rather. But are Young Buck and Airwax going to do the same? And if they do, is Amazing going to be lurking in reaction? No smite shenanigans. If I don't take flash, I want to burn things down with the Ignite, says SOAS.
That's the mentality for the team. They don't necessarily need that extra smite. They don't need to challenge opponents. They can just beat them down. So for now, we've got the teams fanning out. The line of scrimmage SOAS just outside the range of the sapling. And no lane swapperoos this time around. Origin are going to take it straight up, and so are the Wolves for the time being.
30 seconds until minions.
I wonder if this Kalista Thresh lane are going to take a camp. Airwax
be careful.
down a little bit. Take a start Q.
Keep the ward nice and safe, but got to be careful to start things off. We've seen a couple level 1s go awry today.
Yeah, level 1 can have a big influence in the game. Is Origin going to go for that one-man leash, one-man nuisance on Thresh, like we've seen before, where Niels goes to help his jungler? Sets Amazing up for a really quick clear to punish that Evelynn that goes very low in her clears, potentially, and send Miffy over to stop that Grump, or they're going to take the experience and go for the level 2 all-in. Both very viable options.
That one ward from Origin will definitely help to know exactly what that start's going to be from Copenhagen Wolves on the other side. Most of the Wolves wards have been spent in the river. They've been playing this very defensively, and you have to have respect for this team. I mean, there's a reason they blazed into the LCS and find themselves starting out undefeated.
And I want to watch these golems if they do it efficiently. They're spreading out the Kalista passive proc. One proc on the big one, one proc on the small one. Beautiful AoE. Niels finished. Ah, perfect golems. This is what I like watching.
All right, so Mithy and Niels. Pleasing Crepo. We'll see if they are going to keep that up as the game progresses. So, Freeze and Unlimited meet them down in the bot side. Both supports have taken a little bit of damage, but they're nibbling away at the biscuits to get themselves up to a level. Meanwhile, SOAS is going to go ahead and take the teleport route up to the top as he started a camp of his own to begin this game. Try to get that little bit of experience advantage on Young Buck, who's already wailing away at the minions. Out of the bot, though. Really quick Ignite used on Unlimited. They really want this level 2 all-in. Nice flash from Niels away. However, the heal's going to come in. Niels a little bit low, but Freeze is isolated from his support, and Mithy is just being a big bully. Amazing. He's got his big belly to deal with Unlimited. Dark Binding, but he's still in range. First blood and 400 Gs. Over to Amazing.
I love this iteration from the Origin lineup. They know they will get the level 2 power spike. They know they can go aggressive. Love that flash from Niels as well, aggressively dodging the binding, and then Amazing, going for a little bit of a cheesy play here, gets 2 camps, or 1 camp, immediately goes down to the bot lane, joins that fight, knows there's going to be action. Even if the opponents survive that, you can dive them right after because you've burned all their summons in the fight. Picks up first blood, Freeze has to base, lose all that CS, and he's down 13 CS in the bot lane already.
And that was so confident from Mithy. He steps up, he immediately ignited. They knew that they were the stronger duo, and that is supreme confidence in that bot lane to do that.
Yeah, Niels, fantastic player, really good at level 2 all-ins in addition to his just normal laning style, because you saw him flash aggressively, and that marks the great player that really understands that level 2 power spike that we often joke around. But you can flash this binding because you know it's going to come, and if you flash over it, you can translate that into aggression. Airwax?
He's on a stealth mission, but I don't think he can deal with Amazing right now. Double buff first to the red. He wants to take the Grump away now. Maybe he realizes his time is now. The hate spikes were flying out, but Amazing flashed it.
Yeah, he waited for Amazing to use his abilities on the Grump, then smited away and forced the flash. Good move by Airwax, good reactionary move here, but overall Origin prime position right now. SOAS, he knew where Evelynn was, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, Origin are doing a lot of things right here, but Airwax was able to get a little bit back here. Let's see if he can grab Peke. The Sanguine Pool comes out. He's in safety range.
We've seen this before.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the reasons Peke is liking that Vlad. It's so hard to hit him. And with health as a resource, too, you never can be truly sure exactly how close you are to killing Vladimir.
He's always able to escape Ghost and Flash in him as well. Very nimble. Incredibly hard to kill him. SOAS pulling down Young Buck here a little bit.
Speaking of a guy who's hard to kill, SOAS doing nice and fine, chugging away at the Flask. Young Buck forced under tower. Airwax now back into the blue as Soren is poking away out at the barrel.
Oh,
it's a little bit late, but cheeky maneuver by Amazing. Has had a game fit for his name so far.
Amazing, a little bit behind in experience, got his Grump stolen, went for the blue steal, didn't really work out. Airwax, a lot of action, already a couple camps ahead. Had to donate his blue buff and is still in an experience lead on Amazing, so he's staying quite stable in this game.
Very true. Origin now, they still hold that slim lead, most of it due to the first blood, but there's also a pretty massive CS differential in that bottom lane, mostly because Freeze spent a lot of his, what could have been farming time trying to run away from Niels and Mithy. So that's pretty much not the greatest start for that Ashe.
Now Miffy straight up maxing his hook because at level 3 the hook will guaranteed pop the black shield from Morgana, then you can still proc the hook, follow in, Lantern Kalista on your way, flay people back and do a whole heap of damage that way. Sometimes at level 3, so rank 2 hook can already do that. Depends on how much AP the Morgana runs and just how much magic pen you have on the Thresh. But that's a little quirky interaction in this Morgana matchup that you definitely have to be aware of. So level 5, you might see a hook from Miffy come in if she doesn't have flash still. Some punish.
Yep. Meanwhile, to the top side, Airwax is taking away his Krugs, but he was spotted there. Nice vision placed down.
That's what you do. That's what you do against Evelynn. You just ward her camps. Instead of trying to ward the standard spots, you have to adapt. And good adaptation from Soas there. I imagine it was him that placed that ward.
Yep. Now, missing pings flying. Xpeke is not where they expect
Miffy's doing
to
the
be.
exact same thing.
Yep.
Grump ward.
Nicely done. A little bit of roam by Mithy to secure that one up. Niels just fine on his own down here. There's really no pressure from Freeze. This Ashe is having a real hard time just staying relevant in farm and hasn't really been able to base for items either. You also take a look at the CS differential in the mid. Peke has been giving Soren a hard time. Generally speaking, he's got his revolver already finished, and now we'll see how that one does continue to go.
However, Freeze managed to catch up a little bit. Niels opted for the Vamp Scepter, gets some sustain. He can now no longer get poked out, so he's always on full HP, which facilitates those all-ins we talked about earlier. They're letting the lane push back, safety under your tower until you hit level 6, and then you can go for the aggressive flash. Because you always have a secondary flash when you're playing with a Kalista. You can use your flash aggressively and then get pulled out with Fate's Call. Opens up for a lot of outplay potential.
A lot of outplay potential, that is what it is. Now, Soaz, he's got his boots on, looking ready to go a-walking on Youngbuck. Peke in the mid continues to keep that wave push. Let's go to the bottom where the hook goes flying, splitting the uprights, but Freeze, look at that damage that's on him straight through the black shield. It doesn't stop AD. Airwax now, though, looking to try and answer in the top side. Ignite was on him, and Soaz says, let's take this fight. Forces the flash, runs right into him, and that's a dead Evelynn as Soaz is galloping away from Youngbuck. He might be able to make his escape, and a 1-for-none in a 2v1.
Soas with the aggression, you're ganking my lane? Don't you know who I am? I am the crazy French top laner. Burns the Ignite, kills Airwax, and at the same time, Origin secured that dragon after that aggression in the bot lane. We saw it. That's why they wanted that lane to bounce back to them, because then they have the distance to hop forward constantly on Freeze, use those gap closers aggressively. Kalista was nerfed passively, but aggression leads to poking people out. Soas distracts the jungle, and Origin, they pick up the dragon.
Yeah, they pick up the dragon on top of it. I don't even know if that counts as a nerf on Kalista if you never hop backwards, Crepo.
Well, that's not working around those game mechanics. Just keep hopping forward.
Yeah, you're just totally fine.
Don't feel it. There's nothing changed.
Working towards that Hurricane pickup for him. We'll see how this one goes. Or Blade of the Rune King. New change.
Whatever you want at this point.
Yeah, he's got so many options. That's the cool thing about what Niels is doing right now, and he's gotten his lead back up to almost 20 CS. Hawkshot goes flying just to try and see where Amazing might be. It's going to go ahead and send its way over the red, but Amazing is there to pick that one up. Not really anything Copenhagen Wolves can do on this map at the moment, though.
So there's two styles you can do it with Kalista. You can go for straight 80 damage and max the Q, get a little bit more poke. That's what generally when you want to push people on the tower and make it easier for you to land that Q repetitively. Niels, no, he likes that wave close to his tower, maxes his E, and then you can follow Freeze down the lane if you ever get close to him. Flash play from Miffy, hook from Miffy, offensive type of play, and then eventually stack those rend stacks and pop it to put Freeze down to maybe 10% or even 0%. Exactly what he wants to do. Trying to play safe here. That's one thing Origin's bot lane always does, is they respect the enemy jungler. Rarely will you see them go for an all-in and get punished by a counter gank. I've yet to see that happen in the LCS, and still they manage to win their lane every time. Beautiful aggro passive play.
Yeah, it makes you really wonder that what team is going to be able to challenge this Origin squad? Don't want to look too far ahead.
There's a teleport.
Copenhagen Wolves are going to try to make that happen here. Ash Arrow comes out, but Youngbuck on the teleport locks up Niels. Airwax is going to try to get at least something, but the face call back. No one dies on Origin, not today.
And look at the coach, the Duck smiling and says, yes, that's why I picked Kalista Thresh for my bot lane, because they get out a 4-man gank squad, force the flash from Airwax, force the Youngbuck teleport, and somehow get out unscathed. Losing your support would be fine there, but Fate's Call, secondary flash, beautiful iteration there. And Soaz, first there were 2 people in his lane, now there's 0, and he's happy with that.
Yeah, he had some help from Amazing too, was able to proxy behind the wave, and while Youngbuck was away, the horse will play all over that tower, just about polishes it off, lets the minions take a few more shots, and Youngbuck, there's not much he can really do here with Soaz sitting in lane.
And this is a catch-22. Usually when you play against a Thresh lane, you don't focus the AD carry because he will get lantern out. So what do? You focus the Thresh. But in a Kalista lane, what you usually do is you focus the Kalista, but not the Thresh, because the Thresh will get pulled back. So who the hell do you focus?
My head hurts, Crepo.
Exactly. Catch-22.
I think the Wolves are...
The answer is no one. You go to mid lane, but who's there? Pekka with Sanguine Pool. So, okay, logically, you go to the top lane. Then Soaz kills you.
So, okay, so what they had to do is they had to find Amazing in his jungle. Airwax almost did.
Yeah,
Let's give him some credit there.
That's true.
But as it stands, they just haven't been able to find anything beyond that, a little bit of harassment. So as it stands, you know, we're approaching 12 minutes on the clock. There's been a dragon in favor of Origin. There's been a gold lead for them with the tower as well. And now they're stacking up on this bottom side while Copenhagen Wolves bot lane is away. Soaz out of range. Amazing coming up on this one.
Soaz has teleport advantage. We saw aggression on the bot lane. We saw flashes used. This usually prompts a return gank from the Copenhagen Wolves jungler, but Origin already predicting this. They're ready. 4-man bot lane. They want to storm the front. They want to dive this tower potentially. But he's going to Flate.
Oh, Flay's not going to connect. However, the hook will, and Unlimited is the one who's caught up. Thanks to Mythy, in comes Amazing. The arrow is out, but the barrel is out as well. And a second one, Amazing, will polish him off the second time around.
Forces the Black Shield, knows there's going to be reactionary bind and dodges forward. Lands the hook on the support. What a play. Beautiful execution there by Origin. And I feel like they're 1 or even 2 steps ahead of their opponent consistently so far in the LCS. And fantastic play.
Yeah, they just haven't been challenged. They have been 1 or 2 or sometimes 3 steps ahead. And Amazing, he knew Airwax was there all along. Mythy coming up, but Evelyn is long gone right now. However, the tower looks like it's going down pretty soon.
And so many subtle outplays here. Miffy trying to fish for the invincible Evelyn. He knows roughly where she is, but isn't quite sure. But I just want to reiterate on what Amazing did there. Many Gragases would have just thrown their ultimate, but he knew about the risk of the exhaust, so he opened with a Q barrel, then reevaluated the situation. Morgana had a flash, so he had time. Aerox, he spotted though.
Yep, and Amazing returns fire onto a Mythy in the front. In comes Sorin. Fate's Call, Niels will bail Mythy out, and still Origin stay safe everywhere on the map.
And again, this is why I love playing with a Kalista, because you can overextend your normal range, peel aggressively, and then get pulled out by Fate's Call the second you're about to get hit. And the synergy on this bot lane from Origin is very, very impressive.
See the level of trust they have and how they're able to execute together. All across the board, Origin doing fantastic. 3,000 gold in the lead. Dragon is coming up in another half minute. Copenhagen Wolves have to find a way to punish Origin, but they're not being given an opening.
Now the Wolves are usually a double threat type of team, with Soren and Freeze doing most of the carry potential. Soren still even in the mid lane, 130 CS, so there's still a little bit of hope left for the Wolves right here. If he can get a Shurima shuffle off, as they call it, but Miffy is looking to go aggressive yet again because the support from Amazing
is here. Freeze has got not much mana. They're going to pull him back in after burning through the Black Shield. Amazing picks up a spree kill. That tower's not lasting long, and a teleport comes in as Unlimited has found the binding. Soaz galloping around the side, runs right into Unlimited, and down he goes. You reap what you sow in League of Legends, and that is another kill for Soaz.
We asked for Blood Pyra, and Blood is what we got. 5-0 Origin right here. Translating that kill. Why did Soaz teleport? Because not only does he get a kill, he sets up for the Dragon right here. He can go to base or just simply run back to the top lane, because Youngbuck is still struggling with pushing that wave backwards, and the Wolves are consistently 2 steps behind.
might be close to 3 steps at this point. Soren has let a big wave fly in the mid, but there really isn't much else Copenhagen Wolves can do. Looking to stack up on the top side, while Soaz does not have that teleport available, maybe polish off a tower. They got to stem the bleeding, though, because they are in danger of pretty much having it all bled out.
Yeah, they were en route to get perfect gain by Origin, but at least they're picking up 1 tower to stop that from happening. Don't want to be that team that gives that up. Tower goes to the Wolves. Discrepancy, 4,000 gold, 5-0 on the scoreboard. 2 dragons to none.
Uh-oh.
Soaz?
He's in a bit of trouble. I don't think he expected 3 members of the Wolves to be there. However, he's able to make it out at the cost of simply an onslaught of shadows.
Yeah. Blood frenzy occasionally leads to some amnesia.
Yeah, or maybe a little bit of face checking.
A little bit of face checking. Forgot that there were 3 members that just took that tower.
You know, I guess it's kind of ironic. We've talked about blood all game, and Vladimir's really not been involved in much of it. I think Peke wants to.
It's like Peke said in his interview yesterday, I believe. Yo, Peke, what happened? They asked him. I don't know. I was farming in the mid lane, and then we won. I like those kind of games.
Oh, you too. Soaz is in some trouble here a little bit. However, he burns down. Airwax will finally get him. Niels, though, is on the revenge with the help of Mithy. Airwax is going to pay dearly. Another kill, or a kill over to the AD carry.
Good guy, Mithy, not tainting that support score. He's well on his way to become the Bond of the Rift right here. 2 more assists for that one. Peke trying to keep the tower alive. Ulti for wave clear.
Yep, should be able to scare them off, and he does. Niels and Mithy were there as well, so Copenhagen Wolves, despite that 1 tower, they've yet to get anything else. Freeze looking for a wave down bottom to help him accomplish it, but he can't get too close. It's very dangerous to go alone. Now he'll just let the wave crash against the tower. Peke back in the mid, trying to deal with Soren, Youngbuck, and Unlimited. However, he's got some help from Mithy. He's got Amazing around the side. He's okay.
You see Freeze base. And one reason Vladimir is actually pretty cool to play into Ashe, because often you'll see Ashe players base and send an arrow down the mid lane from the fountain. However, Sanguine Pool on a player like Peke can be used to just straight up dodge that, so that angle is kind of ruined. A very nimble top laner on Hecarim as well, very hard to land that arrow, so he's having issues to get these snipes because just like Forgiven did earlier when he played Ashe 2, or yesterday rather. And we see the weaknesses. Week 1 we saw the rise of Ashe, you know, is she the new OP pick in the AD carry position? Not quite.
It all depends on whose hands she falls into, but yes, it hasn't worked quite so well for Freeze this game. However, it's certainly not the only problem the Wolves are having. Origin across the board, approaching the 18-minute mark. 6-1 is the kill score. Over 4,000 gold ahead. 2 towers to 1 will help that, as will 2 dragons. And now they're stacking up top to try to push their lead.
Yeah, and Mithy scouting across that wall, denying a possible Evelyn flank. Yeah, we see the teleport come in, so the Wolves want to go for a double flank collapse.
In comes the arrow, but it's split between Mithy and Niels, and that has backfired on the Wolves, who are unsure if they want to take this fight. Maokai still running to try and get to the team. Origin don't know he's here just yet, but the barrel will come out onto Airwax, and in comes Soaz. That burst damage, amazing. Picks up another. Flash from Unlimited as him and Freeze bail out. Youngbuck all by himself, locked up by Niels, looking like he might have regretted this teleport. Tosses the sapling, but it's him who's getting touched down or not. Stays alive. Soaz still hanging on with a sliver of health, as Amazing now has to get away from the Sand Soldier range. Close calls for Origin, but they haven't dropped yet.
Good awareness by Origin overall in that fight. Peke wasn't even in that. That was a 4v5. The second they spotted Youngbuck, Amazing immediately turned around, started peeling, and somehow no member of Origin dropped there, although it was very, very close in Soaz's case.
Very, very close. Also close for Youngbuck, as it were. Now things reset to a bit of normalcy. As Freeze clears away some wards, and they take stock of the situation.
Resets to normalcy. Origin 5,000 gold ahead, 20-minute mark. Almost an expectation so far in the European LCS summer
split. Bar here, Crepo.
Definitely setting the bar.
Dragon's a minute and a half away, but right now Copenhagen Wolves got some other ideas. See if they can pick off Soaz.
No ultimate.
He's got his teleport, though, if he can get out of range of being stunned up. And he's trying for it. Runs onto Unlimited. He might take this fight. Soaz is getting seriously crazy this game, and he makes him think twice about that. Amazing now, not about to let this opportunity expire. Airwax running as fast as he can. The binding's going to hit him up, but Airwax now in some trouble as he's slowed down by the barrel. Soaz will pick him off, and the rest of Origin clear the back line away as Unlimited goes down to Niels. Youngbuck bailing out his Freeze and Soren will take a tower in mid, but will be met by Peke.
Fantastic head curve so far by Soa, so deceptive. It looked like he was running in the minions just to have the minions block the Dark Banding, but then suddenly turns around and does so much damage on Unlimited. Nobody was ready for that. Still has his Ignite. Ulti came up. Teleport is now being used.
Soaz has got himself the home guards, and in he goes. Freeze, his health bar's gone. The arrow's not gonna connect, and Soaz claims another. Looking now for Soren as he dashes away to the safety of his tower, forced to use the ultimate to get away. Meanwhile, tower drops in mid.
One teleport used and ultimate forces two defensive ultimates on the Copenhagen Wolves. 1v2 still gets a kill. Soaz, you've practiced this champion before.
I think that's a safe bet. Origin seem to be in complete control of this game as Youngbuck gets caught in a hook, tries to go in on Amazing, getting chunked down, and Peke will claim his first kill of the game. Might as well get him involved in a little bit of it while they're having fun, Crapo.
Yeah. Under 10% kill participation from Peke. Origin members like to keep their job. Peke said, okay guys, now it's my turn to get a kill or else you're off the team.
It's not good for my fantasy. No. Let's see. And Bruise, but for Origin, little to complain about. They will secure themselves Dragon number 3. Copenhagen Wolves, it's spiraling out of their reach.
Yeah, we go back to the feature that we saw, or the clip that Amazing said, we're not a mid lane focused team. Copenhagen Wolves trying a bit of that mid lane focus themselves, but it doesn't quite work out, and Peke farming up a storm, but his team is winning the game for him, and should they falter, should they fall behind, then he will come in. He's desperate times, desperate measures type of guy, but no desperate times so far for Origin.
Well, it says something when you don't have to get your mid lane involved and you're already doing this quite this well in this game. They've extended the gold lead up. It's over 7,000 at this point. We've hit 22 minutes on the clock. Copenhagen Wolves haven't been able to contest a single dragon. Origin just own this map wherever they damn please they can go. And Niels has found Youngbuck and scoots him away from his pink ward, only taking a sapling toss in exchange.
Looking at the split so far, it seems that Origin is always involved in some of the most one-sided games so far. Always very stompy almost to the point, outclassing their opponents both individually as well as macro level play. And we saw Giants go head-to-head a little bit with Origin, give them a run for their money, and initially we wrote it off as Origin coming in weak and Giants performing decently, but going back to that game, it seems that you have to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, and really gotta...
They made the game closer than the Wolves are doing right now.
More than anyone else has, I mean, and that's something I don't think anybody would have expected going into this split. The Wolves now, they're feeling the burn from this Origin team as well. And it's been so very hard to critique this squad on anything. Really, maybe just not ending as fast as they possibly could. Well,
they like having fun.
They do like having fun. And you know, you might as well. If you're in the LCS, you've made it this far, you still keep getting the wins. Let the good times roll and let the barrels keep on going. Airwax now in enemy territory, and they all immediately jump on him, sending everything his way as they peel away from the Baron. The kills are more important, and Soaz looks to secure another. He is going to just barely have to speed his way up to finally polish him off. 5-1 and 3. This horse is going crazy.
Miffy with a very optimistic shot and an LCS big play there, shooting his hook all the way to the left. The only way that would have hit is if Airwax flashed over the wall and walked into it. Hey, securing all angles, because he knew if Airwax doesn't flash to that exact position and he doesn't get that fancy hook, then eventually Soaz will just run him down. Another kill on the board. Origin can push top tower, they can push mid tower, they can go for Baron. Their potential is limitless at this point.
Is indeed. Niels and Soaz will make quick work of that tower on the top. Origin look to be setting up for a Baron as Copenhagen Wolves, all but Youngbuck, have been confined into their base. Youngbuck will finally get a tower there, but small peanuts at this point. Origin starting this Baron off, and there is no response. Hawkshot's going to go through and find it out, but will they react?
Yeah, and even the potential steal is out of the equation. No more flash from Evelyn, and even if she gets close enough. We're talking about Ren dealing over 1,500 damage at these points in the game, combined with Smite. There's no way that Copenhagen Wolves are going to steal this. Kalista secures it.
Yeah, Airwax was trying to make something happen, but Soaz chased him off, was able to twirl around and do some extra damage. Peke now separated a little from his team as he tries to cut Youngbuck, Airwax, and Unlimited off. Gets the Baron empowerment on those minions. And we'll see how this game keeps on going. 25 minutes in.
Yeah, Origin with the shortest average game length in the LCS so far, and looking to have that stat even more. Let's see if they can close in time. or Soas returns to his liking of ending up in the enemy fountain at the end of the game. Rooting those poor people that selected him in the fantasy.
The funny thing is, it didn't change his KDA because that was his first death.
There you go.
Yeah, I guess it didn't.
Then it's all right.
He's got one death on the board here too, but I think Copenhagen Wolves are going to be hard-pressed to really pick off anyone here. They've got the one kill this game. Airwax still deep in enemy territory, trying to find a pickup. But Peke's the one who's found Freeze's health bar. Oh, the blood is sucked out of him as he dances to his death. Peke will pick him off, and now Origin find Copenhagen Wolves with their pants down and start to pick out the Nexus, or the inhibitor turrets, I should say.
Yeah, Copenhagen Wolves freeze, press D for dance, and made amazing press F for flash, even though he was running it on D. Wanted that kill steal, he wanted the credit, he wanted to make his fans proud that selected him in the fantasy LCS. Those juicy points, now he's without a flash. At least that's body slam to get across that wall, so as he's stuck. At this point, he might even use his ultimate to get over.
I don't think it's really a problem for him at this point. They can't do much to him. No one can stable that horse. And another inhibitor turret goes down without much of a fight for Copenhagen Wolves. We got 26 minutes on the clock. Niels, fancy footwork to dodge away from the Ash Arrow. Peke, Mithy, amazing Niels. They're all up on this inhibitor and down it goes. They've got more super minions on the way, looking to clean sweep it around or maybe just fire down the Nexus turrets. They've got minions on all sides. Peke dodging away from the Dark Vine. In comes Soren, trying to get that Shurima shuffle off, but it won't work. Mithy getting pulled back by the face call, and Soas goes in head first into the tower. He might get picked off, shut down by Young Buck, but Origin, they don't seem too phased by this. Young Buck caught in a line, and Peke moving forward, deciding, I think it's not worth it just yet. Let's go back for it.
And there we see the change on Vladimir made. You can now activate items in Sanguine Pool or click lanterns right there. Peke getting out safely. Another interaction that we didn't really mention on before. Sanguine Pool got changed, you can press Zonias, you can take lanterns, and even more nimble Expected. The only one, again, dying here is Soas. 100% death participation.
100%, yeah. He's a #1 feeder this game. 8 seconds till the next dragon, but that doesn't seem to be a priority for Origin right now. They have got bigger fish to fry. Tower going down in the bottom. Copenhagen Wolves base is already in shambles, and the last standing inhibitor and inhibitor turret are looking to go down here. Peke leading the charge with the Hemo Plague onto Young Buck and Unlimited. Amazing as found Airwax. And Soas with a teleport around the backside. Niels will pick up a kill there. And Copenhagen Wolves, they've got nothing left in this tank. Origin have rolled over them just like they have just about everybody else this split so far. Minions are flying all around the board. This game is almost over.
And every game from Origin I see makes me so excited for week 4 where Origin will clash with Fnatic. I can't wait to see that matchup. Amazing almost going down here. Soren barely gets him.
There's Nazir turret on the Nexus turret right now, Crepo. Origin are styling. Unlimited will fall down. There's still some wolves left to howl, but Origin don't need to be worried about that at all. Nexus is going down, 28.5, and Origin are 4-0.
Uno Mas said the Wolves, they killed Mithy in the end. Sharing that pain between each other. Don't want Soas to be the only one going down with deaths on this game. Fantastic performance by Origin yet again.
Big smiles all around for this Origin squad. And what more could you ask for? Blazing a trail into the LCS, this squad that Peke has put together, and now they have yet to lose a game through week 2.
They varied their jungle path, they had the level 2 power spike, they have good macro level play, and then they have Soas with the crazy Ignite Hecarim, turning everything upside down. And meanwhile, should they ever need it, they have a world-class mid laner in mid lane rather, as Expected. Fantastic.
In the back pocket.
When you have Expected in your back pocket, things are going quite well for you.
Oh yes, Origin have to be happy with their performance so far. Begs the question, what can stop these guys? We'll have to find out. I mean, that week 4 matchup with Fnatic starting to look pretty exciting. The only 2 teams that have yet to drop a game on the board. Over on the Wolves side though, a lot to work on, a lot to think about. Really didn't have much of an opportunity to get involved this game in anything.
No, draft was all right for the Wolves. Composition with a clear goal, clear weaknesses too. And those weaknesses were exploited. No Wayne swap came in place. Not sure if there was double mind games there or if the Ashe Morgana felt comfortable going up against Kalista Thresh, but I feel with the Krugs for the level 2 power spike, beautifully snowballed, aggressive flash from Niels. Can't stress that enough. They made it look easy, but they really mastered that combo. And let's go back to that 4-man gank that they somehow managed to survive. It showed just absolute mastery of that Kalista Thresh combination.
Yeah, those bot laners slipped through the fingers of the Wolves, and I can't believe they were able to then immediately move on to the top side. They went ahead and did their 4-man dive down bot. Origin, they're playing this game so far ahead of, it seems like, just about every other team in the LCS right now. It's so hard to see how these other teams are going to react to them. I don't think anyone's able to figure them out so far. Yeah,
they have beautiful planning, staying 1 or 2 steps ahead, and then their in-fight shot calling seems to be very calm as well, calculated, meticulous. YoungBucks tries to flank, amazing, immediately turns his eyes to the back of the fight, starts peeling, and everybody plays around Niels and keeps him alive. And when Niels actually gets close to dying, that's when it's APM. His mechanics come back in, hop left, hop right, flash over a binding. Fantastic plays all around.
Yeah, really not much more to say about that one. So with it, we're going to go ahead and shoot it over Rift side to Quickshot. He's joined by Origin's Mithy.
Thank you so much, Pyra and Krepo. What a fantastic game. I am joined by Mithy after Origin just wiped the floor with Copenhagen Wolves. 29 minutes. Talk to me about how the game was so convincingly won in your favor.
I think we just killed them a bit too much and just ended fast, I guess.
Why was it so easy to kill them too much? Because it just felt like you guys were all mechanically just outplaying the Copenhagen Wolves.
I mean, apart from, I don't know if we mechanically outplayed them. I think we just took trades at the better times, because I think I missed every hook this game, but it didn't really matter at the end of the day. So I think it's just for example, on bot lane we traded, but we had our jungler close, so we forced the Morgana to flash out to the river, and our jungler was there, so we knew the trade we were taking, and they thought they were 2v2ing, but they weren't, and it's just things like this, And Soaz did a really good job. I think he carried the game on top lane, so yeah.
Well, it was great to see Soaz on that Hecarim, a champion that we don't really associate with Soaz, but it went well. Let's step away from this game. Talk about Origin. You guys are 4-0 in the summer split. You've got the lowest average game time. You've got very convincing victories. Is that something you were expecting coming into the summer split?
No, I think we play better on stage than in scrims. So yeah, and I think we got a bit lucky sometimes. So yeah.
Well, congratulations. Thank you for also staying, humble when you talk about that. How is the transition? Are you guys, I know you had a gaming house in Tenerife. I know you've been practicing there. Are you fully living in Berlin? What's the adjustment like from the old house or to the new settings, for example?
Well, we're still not fully adjusted. There's some issues going on with the housing, but in terms of gameplay, in Tenerife, we were playing with a 80 ping and not so good screens, and now we're playing with pretty good screens and 30 ping, so there's quite a big difference in that regard, even though people might not think about it. And yeah, overall, it's just from one day to another, you basically become better, so that also helps.
Well, congratulations. I got one more question before we move up to the analyst desk. Next week, you got 2 more games, but it's week 4 that a lot of people are excited about. Origin versus Fnatic. Obviously, because of the Soaz and the Peke factor and the fact you guys are undefeated. Does something like that affect you and your team's mindset at all, or is it just another game?
I would be lying if I said it was just another game. I think Fnatic is obviously the strongest LCS team right now, so obviously we're going to try our best to win, but yeah, you never know. It's a best of 1. I think Fnatic is a very strong team, and we will see how it goes.
Well, I wish you all the luck in the world. Thank you again. Congratulations on 4-0. So that wraps it up for us here in week 2. We're going to head up to the analyst desk to close out the show.
I just love the part where Miffy talks about playing on high ping. It's almost as if Origin played in a gravity chamber in Challenger Series to get ready for LCS, and it worked beautifully.
Yeah, it looked like they were 0 gravity in this game. I didn't note anything more down than whoa, because it just... they were so much on the same page. It was quite incredible to see. Just in general.
Yeah, I mean, Origin, Mithy said it didn't feel like they mechanically outplayed, but every single trade the Wolves wanted, there was always a Kalista ult or a Thresh Lantern or just something that Origin always had the number for Copenhagen Wolves.
Yeah, and when it's not necessarily mechanically, it's because they already know what's going to happen, right? Yeah, for them it doesn't feel like flashing that bind offensively is a mechanical outplay because it's so standard. They've done this before. They're so well practiced. They're such a well-oiled machine, and then everything becomes quite normal, becomes quite average. But yeah, again, I can't stress it enough. fantastic play by Origin.
Yeah, it seems like they're playing on a cloud. Don't want to make this too hard for you guys, but this is interesting. I don't know if he's downplaying, but Fnatic is obviously the best team in Europe right now. If you go on maybe pure hard stats and maybe game time and the way they finish it, what would you guys lean to?
Ooh, do you know what? I feel like Fnatic, especially in the games against Rocket yesterday, where Rocket started out pretty good, I feel like they're so even, but Origin's wins are just so much more convincing. And that's not to say that they're better than Fnatic. I'm going to cop out and say they're even.
No, I understand.
I think Fnatic will not crumble individually matchup per matchup, which doesn't allow Origin to snowball immediately. And then it comes down to macro level play. And we've seen both teams are great at it, but you cannot underestimate Fnatic when it comes to a slow and calculated game. So yeah, I would say even as well. And I'd be lying if I knew which team would come out ahead of there.
Yeah, we did almost not touch on the Copenhagen Wolves. They are going to have to bounce back, but honestly, it was a tough matchup for them versus OG in this one. We're going to take a look at the standings, though, here in the European LCS at the end of day 2. And, well, undefeated, Fnatic and Origen at the top of the tables, and the middle of the pack. Giants, H2K, Unicorns of Love, Copenhagen Wolves, Elements, Rocket, Gambit, and SK still not with a victory on the board yet.
Yeah, we're seeing a clear divide in the table. Top 5 teams and bottom 5 yet again, and it seems like a fight for 3rd place at the moment in the European LCS, and then a fight to just avoid the relegations or play downs, and definitely don't want to get into that spot. You want that 7th place at least, or make that 6th place into playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting, though, that 2 of the longest-standing European organizations are right down at the bottom of the table. This is where you have to dig deep as an organization like that and just seriously look at what's not working and try and fix it. They have the resources to do it. They just need to implement this game plan before it gets too late in the season.
Yeah, definitely to work on that and see what they can do for the next weeks. Now, helping the Unicorns stay tied for the number 3 spot today was Vardax, who earned a total of 7 kills, 9 assists, and 434 CS against Rocket. That adds up to a total of almost 31 points, making him today Fantasy LCS leader. Vardax racking up the points, and, well, it's sometimes hard to shine in a team where there's a lot of big damage dealers, but good on him. It was a pretty long game, though.
It was quite a long game, but, you know, there was a lot of CS taken by everybody in that game. So I'm actually, I don't want to say I'm surprised by it being Vardax, but certainly after some of yesterday's high-scoring games, 31 seems a little bit lower than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Well, Origin just decided they didn't need more fantasy points. They want. It was getting late here in Europe. They just want to get home early, rest up well, and get ready for next week. So they didn't grind out the game like they did yesterday. Clean, swift finish.
You heard it from Stress Vardax, you know, ramp up your game and get a little bit better at bowling while you're at it as well. And Vardax wasn't the only one putting on their carry pants this week. We've chosen 5 OP players to highlight after doing more than their fair share in their team's last 2 games. We have 5 people that we particularly had an eye on. Starting off with Nils there. It's very hard, right? This team is at the top of the tables. There's a lot of people that have done a lot, but definitely his progression yesterday, fantasy leader, MVP last week, and another breakthrough performance here this week.
Yeah, just fantastic stellar play. Shows that he can play safe in lane when he needs to, when he can play aggressive too. Synergizes with his jungler, and overall, really beautiful play. Having such a stellar KDA, yes, you're playing in a winning team. Yes, it's easy to get those kills, but he barely dies. He always gets out. And remember last week, those plays on Vayne, tumbling up, left, down, condemning into wall. Just mastery of the champions he's playing.
Yeah, almost like putting on a show, but there's always someone who's there with him. That is Mythy, of course, his bottom lane partner, who has mechanically shown us what he can do after being away from a while on several different champions.
Yeah, I was going to say, pretty much behind every good AD carry tends to be good or great support with that. And Mythy has come back to the scene and is looking on top form. You saw his kill participation stats there, 77% overall. And man, he's just been so good, whether it's engaging or peeling back and defending. Just so good by Mythy in all of Origin's games.
Absolutely. Whew, what a highlight reel that is, and those games were. Then our next OP player is a Giants player, Werlip. Just his growth through all and with the team has been quite impressive. His games on Maokai, and then today his beloved Jax as well. Yeah,
very strong performance on this Jax out from Werlip, and that's why people ban it against him, and I don't think Werlip is going to get Jax all that often in the future.
No, that hurts. And Fox knows it. Our 4th OP player is Pepinero. 14, 5, and 19 in 2 games. Fantastic. He's always been the one we look at kind of for Giants, but even when the rest of the team is doing well, he's always there to count on.
Yeah, ever since the addition of the new support God Threat, they seem to be thriving. A lot better team as or Giants became more of a team. Pepinero has always been solid, but they seem to be working with him even better. Beautiful poke composition coming out of them today and just synergized well with Audrey earlier and Whirlip carried. So multiple threats coming out of Giants, and yeah, Pepinero is still so solid in the mid lane.
Absolutely. Our last OP player is Odawamne coming out of H2K. That Rumble, flame spitting, it was on fire.
Yeah, Rumble 2 days in a row. Odawamne and I went back and forth on his champion pool, and he has shut me up completely here with a complete departure in playstyle.
Yeah, spitting so much fire, you might as well release a mixtape, Odawamne. Such a great player today. I am fascinated by the Rumble. I want to see more.
I'm fascinated by your one-liners. That is amazing. Well, of those 5, though, we had to choose an MVP. It wasn't easy, but for us, Whirlip stood above the rest, helping Giants rise victorious in both their games this week. We say it wasn't easy. He had a KDA of 11.3, dealing 72% of his team's damage. We could have given it to Odawamne as well, but we see it in the context of the team as a whole.
Yeah, definitely Odawamne close second. Just want to say that Odawamne apparently in Romanian means "oh God," and rightfully chosen so. But Whirlip, fantastic performance. I just like that he's pulling so much attention, and that yet again allows Pepinero to shine in that Giants team, allows Audrey to get some breathing room, work together with their support, and I really want to see more of Giants, see what they can do, and if Whirlip can continue this trend. Yeah. He had a good week now, hopefully next week too.
Definitely, and see if the Giants can continue that upward curve. Now, of course, it wouldn't be the LCS without some big plays. Here's one from Advanati2K. You're going to need more than 4 people to successfully gank Niels and Mithy. The escapes.
Don't want to look too far ahead. There's a teleport. Copenhagen Wolves are going to try to make that happen here. Ash Arrow comes out, but Youngbuck on the teleport locks up Niels. Airwax is going to try to get at least something, but the face assault back. No one dies on Origin. Not today.
And look at the coach, the Duck smiling and says, yes, that's why I picked Kalista Trash for my bot lane, because they get out a 4-man gank squad.
Crepo, you said that's become standard for Origin. Plays like that, 2 versus 4, if that's standard for Origin, I want to see what's exceptional.
Oh man, week 4.
Week 4, we keep building it up. One of those teams is going to drop a game, and it's still going to be epic, though. Our second tweet is from @OllieG Ward. Gambit play volleyball with Reckless. The hit by Diamond Prox, followed by the pass from Gosu, and dunked by Forgiven. Here is your LCS big play of the day.
Find an answer. He's got that Seraph's Embrace upgraded. Dragon.
Diamond Prox going in. Reckless hiding in plain sight. Gets caught. Double knockup. Forgiven with the dunk. Let's see that again. Reckless going in body slam. Almost wears off. Nope. Cast comes in. Almost wears off. Flash from Edward. Or from Gosu Pepper now. Really want to highlight just that little nudge. On the hunt.
You should be a basketball commentator. That was quite impressive.
Hey, last week you called me overrated. Now you're coming back with the compliments?
I never do. I always have compliments for you. Anyway, with things wrapping up here in Berlin, it's time to look ahead to our next set of games, which pick up next Thursday as Oricon faces the Unicorns of Love. We have Rocket versus Giants in there, SK versus H2K, Fnatic Elements. Whew, what it spells out to me is a lot of teams that need to win or absolutely need to win on the board, and some hard matchups. Elements versus Fnatic. If there's ever a game to bounce back, it's that one, but chances might be slim.
Yeah, bouncing back will be very hard. Fnatic looking in top form and definitely don't want to drop a game anymore. They just want to stay at the top of the table. And Elements, they have a lot of things to fix right now.
And that middle of the table just clash is getting more interesting as we progress.
It truly is. Middle of the table is where so many people's eyes are on. I'm looking forward to a number of the games from next week, but I honestly think that Origin, they've played so well and so conservative in keeping their lead. Unicorns, can they drag them into the madness?
Conservative in keeping their lead? They're just building it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if you're always building your lead, there's no chance to lose it.
That's true. The action begins on Thursday at 6 p.m. Central European Summertime, which works out to be 9 a.m. Pacific for you folks over in NA. Now, speaking of NA, the North American LCS gets back in gear tomorrow with a match between Enemy Esports and Team Liquid. We have TSM versus Team Impulse there as well, Dignitas, TDK. A lot of interesting matchups there as well.
Yeah, Enemy Esports with my boy Inox. Definitely looking forward to that one. Moved to the mid lane. Really excited to see him. He's been performing pretty well so far.
Yeah, the win last week as well, and a cool interview by him. So things get fired up over in Los Angeles on Friday, starting at 9 p.m. at Saturday, actually, starting at 9 p.m. Central European Summertime, noon Pacific, so don't miss it. And with that, it is time for us to close up shop here at the European LCS. I'd like to thank Stress for lending a hand on both desks this week.
Thank you, Stress.
On behalf of myself, Crepo, and the rest of the LCS broadcast team, thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, we'll see you in solo queue.
In gold.
We're loading up for the first game of the day. Gambit at 0-3, Fnatic 3-0. Dragon.
Fox going in, Reckless hiding in plain sight, gets caught, double knockup. Forgiven with the dunk.
Headbutts him to another tunnel. Small mistake, but it's very impactful. Forgiven gets taken down. Gambit have lost all of their games, but Fnatic have won them all. That's a very good equalizer once more from Freddy, and Werlin has already got himself a kill. Taken Fox out. That was a great teleport.
Everyone is going to die.
Giants 3-1 in the summer split.
Position.
They are. Kick is not dead just yet. He's managed to get saved for a few seconds longer.
I got the blood.
Lucia. Okay. That's low.
The crowd erupts. Unicorns of love. Unicorns of life.
There's snow stop. I want snow stop.
Snow stop.
I'm a cowboy. Well. You have to be a snow stop.
Doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
Nice.
Why can't we just stay together?
Oh yeah,
baby.
Oda Wamne, Lulex in the front line, Dexter, the barrel, Froggen, he's going down, pulled back in by the shockwave as Oda Wamne still alive in all of this, and a methodical and surgical dismantling of elements is completed. Ash Arrow comes out, but Youngbuck on the teleport locks up Niels. Airwax is going to try to get at least something, but the
Are you serious?
Origin don't need to be worried about that at all. Nexus is going down.